Welcome, friends, to Nerd Report, your favorite. We got a lot of new people here, and they're not here for me. They're here for Streets LA. Have you heard of him? William Good. He's supposed to be a guest here. I'm really, really excited. Have you all been following the Scientology protests? Have you guys been following the Scientology protest in Hollywood? Man, what a crazy and obsessive thing, quite frankly. And this is the first time William's actually going to be exclusively interviewed. I see he's backstage right now. This guy's awesome, man. So I got a few questions for him, and you guys feel free to bring in your questions. But here we go. Without further ado, we want to welcome Streets LA, William Good. How are you doing, brother?
How's it going, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great, man. Have you used this platform before? I think Aaron does it, right?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, awesome, man. You look like The Rock with those glasses. Has anyone ever told you that?
First time.
First time? Yeah, you're a little buffer, though. You're a little buffer.
Yeah.
Man, so let me start off with, because some of the people here don't know you or you haven't been properly introduced. I don't know, but you, how did this all start? Basically, I want to hear it through your mouth.
With
the Scientology protest. I know you're a police. You watch the police as well, and it's kind of linked, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually. It started off. I was filming a police stop, documenting a police stop back at the end of last April, and it happened to be right next to one of the Scientology buildings. It was 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, near one of their side entrances of the office building. And it started off with them telling me that I had to move from where I was at, like they owned the sidewalk. It escalated to them walking out of a door and purposely trying to bump into me. Looking at it now, I think they saw the police there. I think they were trying to help the police. They're trying to create a situation where they can claim that I purposely bumped into them or something. And then it escalated to a point where one of the security guards told me to suck his something.
Pee-pee.
Yeah. But I mean, not the word that begins with a D, the word that begins with a C.
Cock. It's like a chicken.
Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty vulgar.
Yeah.
So I told him on the spot, I said, I'm gonna end your religion. And here we are.
Right. Damn. We're gonna get to that a little bit, because it looks like at least it's showing like it ended in Hollywood, but maybe they're playing possum. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to get your thoughts on that. You think they are? You think they're? We'll get to that a little bit, because it's a lot of excitement. Now, you're the last person. You're very humble. When people say you started all this, you're the last person to say you started it all. And I did do some research, and there have been people that have actually gone to that recruitment center on Hollywood Boulevard in Highland and they have protested. You could actually see the recruiters there 10 years ago, the same ones, same time, longer hair, right? And more of a Xenu eyes, right? Even more. But why do you think this time it hit it off more than the other times?
I mean, a couple of reasons. First off, I give them a lot of credit to people in the past who did it. They did it at a time when it's kind of sort of scary to go up against the Scientology, because they did have a lot of power within the police department and just in society. It was hard to fight back against them. Listen, man, we have some platforms now that made it easy. TikTok and YouTube have made it easy to sort of go viral. I also think, listen, I had a strategy too. When I started doing this, I said, I'm going to just start off on TikTok. I'm going to build it up and get it onto YouTube. I'm going to encourage other people to get out there. I thought it would take a year to get to where we're at right now. So I actually, even though my beef started with them in April, I was working on other projects back then, so I couldn't really go at this hard. I would just mess with them here and there. It wasn't until I got back from my vacation in August where I said, okay, now is the time we're going to start hitting them. And so I think in the last 4 months, it's at a point where I thought it would take a year. Listen, right now, it's in some ways we have to declare victory in Hollywood. You've seen it. I've been by the test center every single day during the daytime, 9 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, every day for the last week. They're closed. They don't even open up. They don't even put that little sign out front. It's not happening. If you go down to Ivar, where they had the buses pulling in and out of and the vans pulling out of, they've actually removed all the tarps and tents they had set up. They've essentially abandoned that operation there. So as far as Hollywood, their operations are done. They're at a minimum, they've decided to go into hibernation for a few weeks, which is fine with me. They can't recruit right now. We got all the information out there about Scientology. I don't see how they come back from it. I don't see how they come back. I don't see how they recover from this long term. Short
I
term.
think you're right.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, so we have to, on Hollywood Boulevard, declare victory there and realize that it's time to do other things. You know, you're going to have to, instead of just sitting in front of a building that's where there's no action, have 10 people sitting there just sort of streaming nothing. It's time to act a little bit more like journalists and dig. Go to other locations, find different angles. You know, I was filing a police complaint at the station against Officer Tommen, who arrested Aaron. I did that yesterday. I was at my city council, my neighborhood council meeting 2 days ago, confronting my neighborhood council, asking them to take a stand on Scientology, if they should keep their tax exempt status or not. So it's going to have to, listen, first stage was to interrupt their recruiting on Hollywood Boulevard. That's come to, it's not disrupted, it's over for now. Secondly was to bring awareness about Scientology, not just locally or statewide, nationally, but it's now internationally. I had people coming up to me on Hollywood Boulevard saying, I watch your videos in Yemen, I watch your videos in UK, in Ireland, in wherever, in Australia. People have really learned about Scientology. It went viral. And Scientology does best when people don't know what they are and who they are. They need to get by on personality tests and stress tests and movies and stuff, hiding and using deception. They can no longer do that.
Absolutely. And I you know, a lot of people are watching you here for the first time. So I'm going to ask my mods to please share Scientology Audit, Streets LA. They're on YouTube as well. And you touched a little bit on about TikTok, and TikTok decided to ban you and Jessica's account. Now, just so you guys know, Streets LA and Jessica are probably the biggest channels. Then there's Chris with a Hellcat, without a Hellcat, as well. A lot of newcomers and stuff. So outside of this YouTube channel, is there any other place you want people to follow you? You got your Twitter as well, right?
Film the Police LA on everything. Film the Police LA on Twitter, Film the Police LA on YouTube, Film the Police LA on Instagram. My old Film the Police LA TikTok, I had like 70,000 followers, and one day they decided to ban that, claiming copyright violation of my own videos. So I'm used to. I was expecting, quite honestly, I was expecting TikTok to ban me a long time ago. I was prepared for that. In a lot of ways, see, I feel bad for Jessica because, Jessica, that's been her main platform. She's highly effective on it. I sort of abandoned TikTok a month or two ago. I've been pretty much exclusively on YouTube. Listen, I think that TikTok was very helpful getting to where it's been. I don't think TikTok is very useful going forward, only because I don't think the right format for the fight going forward are 30-second clips. It's got to be longer form. It's got to be 8-10-minute videos doing explanation, confronting Congress people, confronting elected officials, things like that. And 30-second videos, they're really good when they're silly and stuff. It's no longer time to be silly. Listen, we don't have the personalities anymore. There's no longer the Sebastians, the Angels.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
There are no more names left, right? Again, it's a good thing. We wanted to shut them down. They're shut down. We won that phase. It's time to move on to a different phase.
Yeah, so I also want to ask in the chat, press 1 if you're new to the channel, first timers, and let us know where you're watching from, which always fascinates me, the power of the internet. You said Sebastian, there's Toucan. Everybody had like a nickname, Lurch and stuff. Where did these characters, they disappeared? Not that you care, but any idea where they're at, or are they out of the state?
Listen, man, they're doing little tasks here and there. So instead of working at the test center trying to bring people in so they can do the personality tests and the movies where they sell the books for up to $85 and sell courses for hundreds, if not even thousands of dollars, they're stuck selling $6 books, setting up shop in MacArthur Park and surrounding areas. That's not a good way to actually bring in revenue or to get recruits. So they're stuck doing these silly tasks or whatnot, and I don't care where they are. Right
Yeah.
now, they can't be effective.
There was a look. I'm gonna ask you this. I think there was an aspect though of comedy that really did introduce a lot of the younger kids, and when they came in, it was funny, and then they go, "Wow, this is a real cause." When they started looking into it, but the comedy kind of brought them into that. Did you see that with? Yeah, you saw that definitely.
No, I mean, I played on that a little bit, right? I
Mhm.
said, I'm going to bring a little entertainment value to this, just to get people to notice it, and it got there. The problem is then you get to a certain point when the comedy starts becoming tired and stuff, and I recognize that. It has to become a little more serious. You're going to have to do work like Chris Without a Hellcat and do
Yes.
some investigative work. And it's time to do investigative work. So my thing is, if your thing was in the past just to kind of stand around and stream the chaos, well, those days are over, right? And it's not going to work. And you're not going to get, if you're trying to do this for content reasons, you're going to have to actually, and listen, I have no problem doing it for people doing it for content reasons, right? The news media, they do their investigative stories for content reasons. So go ahead and that's fine. But actually, you're going to have to put in the work now. You can no longer just stand right there and just get thousands of people to watch your feed with all that chaos going on, with the recruiters. And now it's, you're going to do other things. And on top of it, it's also become a point where we have to be honest. The Scientologists called the cops on us way too many times and just
Yes.
created an environment. But it reached a point where some of these calls now, it's just straight up swatting. It's probably not even Scientologists. It's probably just somebody watching on the internet. So you have to sort of balance that. How effective? What's the point if the building's closed and now we're just having a point where we're just having cops come because people are swatting us? It's actually putting people in a rough position. If they were open, sure, it makes sense to be there. But if they're closed, it's time to find other ways. People are going to have to find new angles. Like I said, my angle, I want to confront the politicians.
Yeah.
People have to find their own way with it. But streaming in front of the facilities aren't really going to cut it anymore.
You could also probably ask politicians on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Ask them when they tweet out, maybe like Governor Newsom.
Exactly.
Tweet at them and go, "Hey, by the way, this is happening. What is your stance?" At least it's out there. I believe they called the cops on us too. I am a big fan. I brought you a tripod. I go, "Hey man, do you need a tripod?" He said, "Yeah, that'd be kind of nice." Someone, so look, I go, I'm going to donate one. So I brought you one and it was just you and I, and I'm going to use a code word, a bang bang. They called a bang bang. And the only thing that I could think of is that someone pretended that tripod, the selfie stick was a bang bang. And folks, that swatting puts people in danger. It's cops. You don't know if they're coming. They're armed. We're not. You don't know if they're scared or whatnot. My other man, I have very little interaction with police, man. I'm pretty much like Brady Bunch. When I went to protest with you with Aaron was the first time I've ever been inside a police station. I was shocked how dirty it was. But how many
That's
times,
a clean one.
How many times could they call the cops?
From my count, I stopped counting at 25. 25
With
times.
the same thing.
I mean, listen, they started off calling the cops on me back last summer because they claimed I was harassing just because I was standing in front of the place saying, "Don't go in there, it's a cult." They called the cops, claim I was harassing them. Even had the cop come out there, Talman, who arrested Aaron, came out, dealt with him. He stood across the street spying on me for a half an hour because he's just a jerk like that. They set the precedence with this. They kept on calling repeatedly for little things over and over again. And, unfortunately, it encourages people on the internet to do those sorts of things. My thing is, at a certain point, they need to be held accountable for using these resources. Remember, this is a tax-exempt organization. They don't pay any taxes. The LAPD gets half of our discretionary budget, half of it. And because of that, we have these resources being used they're not paying into, all while people are claiming that we need more cops and there aren't enough resources, but they're the ones using it. And no one's held accountable for this misuse of resources. If I make a fake call to 911, I can expect, you'd expect to be potentially prosecuted. But somehow the Church of Scientology gets a pass for these same sort of frivolous and make-believe threats.
There's the guy in question, what is it, Perry? Damn, I forgot his first name. The guy with the dog. Excuse me?
Patrick
Perry. He literally put his dog to bite. He weaponized his dog in front of like 6,000 people. Multiple times, and nothing happened.
He bit my hand one time. He bit Chris without a Hellcat's arm and actually punctured his skin, and even bit one of his friends. Then in the second incident against SB Spanglish, he brandished an illegal baton. Then, even had possession of it's an illegal baton. It's illegal to have, and then made criminal threats while doing it. And at the same time, SB Spanglish reported to the cops a block away. They detained him. And they let him go and gave him his illegal baton back, and he walked away. The detective who was at the scene just happened to be the same detective that was handling Aaron's situation too.
We saw at the police station, the mostly, I call it TikTok versus Scientology, but now it's YouTube, now it's social media versus Scientology. We saw you guys, or everybody actually, go where the cops were leaving and calling them out for illegal stuff they had in their car. They were getting booed as they were coming out, but we also saw firemen getting praised. And it was just so telling, because we should praise both of them, right? But the LAPD just ruined their reputation. In your opinion, is there a way to start fixing that? Is it fixable? How would they go about it?
I mean, it starts off with accountability. Cops have to be held accountable for the misconduct. Right now, the police are not held accountable for the misconduct. There's only, of all the complaints that are filed against the LAPD, only 4% of those complaints are sustained. 96% are thrown out. There's, listen, I've been working on a case right now where I have video, they even played it on the news, of a guy who was handcuffed and had his legs shackled, laying on the ground, and a cop went over and purposely stepped on his face. I filed complaints on that, and the LAPD has told me that it didn't happen. He didn't step on his face, even though the video is showing clearly the guy's face, seeing his skin stretch as the boot comes down. They gaslight you like that. They just lie to you. And if they're not held accountable and they can get away with this and they get half of our budget, half of our discretionary budget. Imagine having a city agency that gets half of your discretionary budget but has no sort of accountability whatsoever. If you try to say, even audit their books, they will fight you tooth and nail, and they get away with it because the politicians are scared of them. It's a situation where we have one body that's actually over the LAPD. That's the LAPD Commission. LAPD Commission is our Civil Oversight Committee. But look who's on the Civil Oversight Committee. Mayor Bash just put 2 new people on them. One of them is an ex-cop. The other one is an ex-prosecutor. So they're essentially part of law enforcement. They're not. The Civil Oversight Committee should be made up of the baker down the street, the person who owns a convenience store, the teacher around the block. It should be it's civilian oversight. Having somebody who was an ex-police chief and putting him onto the Civilian Oversight Commission, an ex-prosecutor, they're not going to hold the police accountable properly. So I mean, until that's fixed, that we can't even get into the other steps that are necessary to fix the situation.
Absolutely. Mods, once again, please continue to share Williams Streets LA's social media. It's got Twitter right here, also YouTube and stuff. And I gotta be honest with you, man, I'm scared in a way of them removing everyone's platform. You know what I mean?
From TikTok?
Everywhere. Well, I mean, I've been doing YouTube mostly, and if you look at my previous video, I was reporting, or I helped report, an animal cruelty, animal abuse channel. It took weeks for them to move, right? This guy was uploading animal abuse, literally killing monkeys live. He had 500,000 subscribers, thousands of views, people reporting him left and right, not just us. I play 1 second of a song and they strike me, man. I've been struck for BS and not been able to stream for a month, right?
Wow.
So none of these platforms are, just so you know, none of these platforms are ours. You know what I mean? What I do suggest to you, which is get a .com.
Well, I already have a doc. I have one for my Film the Police stuff, is filmthepolicela.com.
Yeah.
It's not launched yet, but it'll launch within a couple of days.
Right. Yeah, and I heard you have some really, really good ideas with that, because I've been able to hang out with you, as I hear you speak. And look, thanks for being here. I got more questions, but feel free if you run out of time, because I know you're good.
Listen, I could talk about, if you're going to talk about cops and stuff, I'll talk all day long about this.
Well, I jump all over the place, bro. I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited with the movement, and man, you got to be real proud of all the kids that have come in, and they came in probably a little bit for clout and then stayed for the activism, right? You got Solomon in there. You got, oh man, that kid is awesome.
I don't care why they came in, as long as they were getting the views. The thing I really wanted to make sure is that people learn about Scientology. So people came in there, film, and this whole meme of Scientology memes have gone viral. They're everywhere. Listen, if we're not in front of there protesting, if they open up their front doors, people are not walking in. They know about Scientology. Everybody who walks in there kind of knows about it, and they go in there to sort of mess with them. And people coming by, taking selfies. Like, the days of Scientology sneaking and getting people in there are over. Yes, they'll get a few here and there, but listen, they have 25,000 members worldwide. They're down about 40-50% over the last 8 years. That's a huge drop. And they aren't bringing in new members, and you're going to have old members just, going away, and you're going to have a situation where they're going to sort of spiral with attrition to the point of being irrelevant.
I saw they called, someone swatted Solomon, and I was so upset with that. And I remember when I saw Chris without a Hellcat also be accused of something he didn't do, my heart stopped, bro. Like, my heart sank, because I kind of officially met him that day, and he was sharing, with his people, this channel, doing everything legally. And man, I also want to let everyone know and remind everyone, everything here that you guys are doing is 100% legal, and stuff. And I think you've guided them, William, and stuff. It's like, and I wouldn't be there if I saw some illegal stuff happening there. Like I said, I'm like one of the Lost Brady Bunch member, and stuff, and they've learned so much from you. I have a question, because the Hollywood Recruitment Center added high definition cameras all over the place. They dimmed their glass, so you can't even see inside. What do you think that move is about?
That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. Listen, part of the appeal of that place is that they had all the TVs on the wall showing sort of technology, and its presentation was actually halfway decent on the inside. Now you can't even see it. Now it just looks like a creepy place because the windows are all frosted. Listen, they're on a run. They don't know. These people have spent their lives secluded and separated from society, so they're awkward. They're just like, talk about being socially inept. They don't get it. It just looks a certain way. They think it's a good idea. None of it is a good idea. They haven't had any good ideas. Their strategies from the beginning have been awful. They continue to be awful. And they're essentially, like I said, they're shut down. There's not much going on. So, time to declare victory and move on to a different phase of it.
I got a question from our Patreon, free Patreon, folks. It's absolutely free. This is so you get notifications. This one's from, and guys, if you could share that link as well to the Nerd Report Patreon. This is from Denice. What do you do to keep your voice healthy? You yell a lot. What do you do? Is it tea, Is it a spoonful of honey a day? What's going on there?
I yell some more. That's it. I don't do.
My voice is going already, man.
I mean, my voice sounds different than it used to sound 4 or 5 years ago. I'll admit that it's a little deeper, whatnot. But
Yeah.
listen, I got a big mouth. I can yell.
Amazing. And she continues also to say the blue building, if the blue building were to officially shut down, should it turn back into a hospital, torn down and rebuilt? It is unsettling when I have to visit my family at the Sunset Kaiser Hospital.
I mean, listen, if it were up to me, one of two things: either turn it into housing for homeless, or tear it down and make it into an amazing dog park.
They're constantly working like 24 hours a day in those buildings, man. Yeah. Like, what the hell are they doing?
Everything, anything and everything. They're slaves. They're working 110 hours a week.
Yeah.
They're not getting paid. And so it's slave labor and it's tax free. So if you have a business and you're not paying your workers and they have to work 110 hours a week, and at the same time, you don't have to pay any taxes, your business should be thriving. My personal opinion is, I think as far as, listen, they have a lot of assets, they have a lot of buildings, but I don't think they have a ton of revenue coming in. Since they're a nonprofit or tax exempt, when they can't just keep their money, they can't just bank their cash. They have to put it to use, so that you put it to use by buying these buildings or whatnot. But as far as operating revenue and stuff, I'd be surprised if they have a ton to work with. And so that's part of the reason why I want to get rid of their tax exempt status, make them pay 30-40% taxes off the top, and they'd have to sell off a lot of these properties to make that happen.
It's crazy how beautiful and massive their properties are, and they have. Go ahead.
Historic properties. These are historic properties. That test center on Hollywood Boulevard, it's the first hotel in Hollywood. You know, it's a historic building. You go to the Celebrity Center, it's a historic building. They have a lot of historic buildings, and I take offense to it, to how they're using it essentially for human trafficking.
Right. That's incredible, man. There's a lot of moments. The past, I say it's like 4 months. You say it's like since April. So I noticed you 4 months ago.
Yeah, it's really been about 4 months on social media going after it. My fight started about 8 months ago.
Nice, man. And you were alone doing it. And who, like, how did they just start showing up? How did
I remember, so when I first started doing it, I was just doing it. I don't even think I was posting it online. I was just doing it. Or maybe I'd post some of it on Twitter. And then I just made a TikTok account and started posting on there. And I started seeing just people show up and kind of just lurk, just kind of watch me do my thing. Then I start giggling. And then Jessica showed up, and Jessica and I hit it off immediately. We just kind of, the energy worked together. And then Confident Chris showed up, and it just went from there. And then it really, I think the biggest moment was when they're opening their Winter Wonderland thing. I think it was on like December 3rd, December 4th. And I asked people to come out there and help me protest, and the crowd came out there. And from that day forward, there was a crowd. I mean, some days 50, 60 people.
The night Aaron was arrested and released, there was like 150 people. It was so big. It was like the ending. And I look at this like a reality show, unscripted, and I think that's why people look at it in the first place, and then they stay for the cause and everything. And I think that's a key, right? But it was like the ending almost of the finale of the first season. That's what I look at it, right? It was this weekend was the grand finale of the first season.
Well, they haven't opened their doors since.
No. And it was, oh my gosh, what is your most memorable moment out of the 4 months? Which one do you think stands out the most?
Moment? I guess a lot of the moments that stand out are the ones from the very beginning when I was doing it by myself. The weird thing, I think, I was walking down the street. There was actually a shooting scene right by one of their buildings, and I was there documenting the police shooting. And as I was leaving, I see a crowd of people walking in my direction. I'm like, whoa, these are Sea Org members coming walking at me. And then they crossed the street to go around me, only to come, once they got past me, cross back over. So it was like 50 of them, and it was a very strange thing to witness. I'll be honest with you, a lot of my early battles with the security guards, we used to battle. We used to go at it. I think they were very used to scaring people away because that's what they have always done. They were used to acting like they own the sidewalk and scare people away. And I'd go at it with them, taking it right to the edge. And so I don't think there's one specific moment, but I just think the way it changed over time really stands out.
I want to give a shout out to Popcorn Planet. They are rating us right now. Let's see those popcorns up in the chat and stuff, and let us know if you're coming in from Popcorn Planet. Andy Signor, guy has over almost 1 million subs here. I'm sure he would love to have you as a guest. But also, since we have more eyes on us, I want to let you know, update you a little bit, that if you just got here, you could actually rewind this video to get the entire interview. And we're talking to Streets LA William Good, and he runs a channel called Scientology Audit. I'm going to put the link right up on the screen. Mods, do me a favor. If we could move him a little closer to 200,000, it would be an amazing victory, a proud moment for all of us here. And also, he's on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, Film the Police LA, and the story is just amazing.
Also,
and go ahead.
Also, Film the Police LA on YouTube.
Film the Police LA on YouTube is also one of his channels. And please support him on all the platforms, because TikTok decided to get rid of his and Jessica's, who's another big protester's channel, on the same day at the same time. Do you think that was them?
Yeah. I mean, it was. I know who it was, but I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to give them the attention that they would like.
I have a feeling that too, but yeah, you're right. No attention for that. Are people recognizing you more, or they did already with the police
walking down the street?
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
What do you think of that?
It's funny thing is, I've always operated as like a private person, so it's kind of awkward. I mean, I've been doing all this stuff for years. One thing you won't notice is that, like, when I'm filming, I don't really put my face into the picture. So I've been doing my police stuff for years, and people kind of knew what I looked like, didn't know what I looked like, and it was only until recently. It's not because of my filming. Like I said, I don't have myself in the cut. Even if I'm just narrating, walking down the street, I'm usually just have the camera facing away from me. But yeah, I can't listen. I walk down the street all the time now, and I was walking down the street. I was sitting at the corner waiting for a light, and somebody's next to me, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna see if Streets LA is over there."
Oh my god! That I don't know. I think it's. I'm happy, but if you don't like it, then what more? What more? Care. You don't care? Yeah.
I mean, it's whatever.
You don't want the other thing on a side note. You're vegan, right?
I am.
I tried. I do.
Oh, you tried?
No. Here's the deal. For some reason, they always put some kind of dairy product and stuff. So if the 100% vegan option is there, I'll do that first. But for some reason, they insist on putting dairy products. So I can't honestly say that I haven't eaten animal products in the past 5 years. But that's what, if the vegan's there, I take that first. Either that or I'll pass out, right?
Yeah, right.
One thing with the vegans, man, the cheese is just not there. It's not there yet. No. Is running for any political office in your mind? No.
Absolutely not. It will never happen. Listen, man, I even if I felt like I could change the system from the inside, it'd be so slow and so small. Mm-hmm. My thing is, I like holding politicians accountable. I'm always confronting them. I'm always searching for them. If I hear that Karen Bass or any council member is going to show up anywhere around me, or actually just anywhere in LA, if I get it in advance, their location, I'm going to show up there. I'm going to confront them about, listen, all the politicians have lied at some point. I'm going to confront them about their lies and confront them about their record. So, I mean, I'd rather do that. I've been offered positions, even accepted one from a city, somebody who was elected to a city position, and I pulled out at the last minute because I just felt like it would be too restrictive on my activism, and I don't regret that. It was a good move.
Aaron from growing up in Scientology had you on earlier, and he says that the LAPD opened an internal investigation Do you care to talk about that? What exactly happened? Now I caught half of that. That's
it's standard. If
Mm.
anything that's high profile, they'll launch an investigation. Once an investigation is launched by the LAPD, then they no longer have to provide any information about the incident until the completion of the investigation, which takes a full year. So what they do is they launch an investigation for the sole reason to protect them from having to answer any questions about the incident. So it's all a bunch of nonsense. It's par for the course and what they usually do. I always try to recommend that people hold off on filing complaints until you get their statements and stuff, but they're just trying to get ahead of it. It's self-serving.
Here's a Dyra. I think that's that's her name. I'm sorry if I mispronounce. I barely could pronounce my own name correctly, folks. So please forgive me. Love what you said to Aaron. White people can see a taste of cop corruption. Also, how you advocate. You don't go towards aggression. Your interactions are finessed.
Yeah, I mean, listen. This is again. Hollywood is 5% black, but the police stops here are about 95% of them are involve a black person. So it's easy for me to show people how police commit misconduct against black and Latino people. What they got a chance to see with the Aaron situation is how corrupt they are, even with a white person involved, even when the suspect was a black person, it got flipped. So people are getting a chance to see just how corrupt the LAPD is. Something I've been saying for years. And quite honestly, this whole Scientology fight helps me out with my police accountability stuff, because in the past, I think people would say, oh, Williams just, he's a police hater. He's only complaining because of that. Now they can see that, no, the LAPD is deeply corrupt. Listen, the Chief Michael Moore announced his retirement next month. He had no intention of retiring. The problem was last month, he got caught launching an illegal investigation into the mayor, using internal affairs, which they have no right to start an investigation. And the investigation was launched into the mayor before she even took office. It was completely corrupt. They found out about this. People from internal affairs came forward and said what the chief did. And so now he's retiring next month. He was fired. But my point is corruption is from the top all the way down. The police chief right now, Police Chief Michael Moore, he was the captain of the famous Rampart division during their scandals back in the 90s and 2000. He was a captain there. He was the guy who managed the scandals. So I mean, there's corruption from top to bottom. There's no sort of oversight. And so now people are getting a chance. Like I said, people who used to think that I was just some sort of police hater are now saying, wow, these cops really are corrupt. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's been super helpful with my police accountability stuff. I think people are going to look at it through a different frame now.
Do you see any, do you know any of them personally and kind of agree with you, but we'll go on record doing it?
I got a message from a high-ranking LAPD official today. I won't say what and this is off record. I wouldn't put their name out there.
People watching this,
but they did praise me for my honesty and integrity and the stuff I do. And this is again a high-ranking person.
The Scientologist recruitment center, because you brought up Latinos, and that's where the Chris's really have helped, because you don't speak Spanish, but you've learned a little bit.
Barely.
A couple words, right? En una secta, es un culto. They become memes. So why do you think they're going after Latinos? Because you've explained it before, but I want to hear it again. I've tried to say your explanation, but I want to hear it from you to our audience.
Yeah, I think, listen, they take advantage of a language barrier that is often present. So it's hard for me to combat them when I'm screaming and there's a language barrier. They're just looking at me like I'm a crazy guy. Also, listen, Latinos are nicer people and don't tell people to screw off. If I'm walking down the street and I see them and they try recruiting me, I'll be like, get the heck away from me. Latinos are going to be nicer about it. They'll kind of listen, even though they're not really listening, but they'll spend their time doing that. But additionally, they actually go after a lot of people currently they're trying to get a lot of people in Central and South America. They take advantage of national disasters and whatnot. They come down there and they'll bring bags of rice, bags of beans and some Dianetics books and say, hey, you know what? Here's your delivery. If you want the next shipment, you should probably start reading this book and start converting to Scientology. Same thing is happening over in Russia and Ukraine, taking advantage of that situation too.
I saw a lot of one of the guys they're recruiting was from the Ukraine and stuff, and a lot of them, they leave their families. This is sad though, that a lot of the tactics they have is not exclusive to them. I've seen it in other cults and other religions, unfortunately. Yeah. But you said something that makes Scientology different from the others, and I've repeated it here, is that when Scientologists are trying to recruit people, they ask you if you want to receive a personality test or whatever they call it. Other Christian religions say, do you want to join Jehovah's Witness? Do you want to join Christianity? That's the big deal, right? It's kind of like a con job.
Yeah, listen, they use a ton of deception. They never come right out and say, hey, you want to join Scientology. If I walk over to a Catholic church over here and I say, what are you guys about? They're going to hand me a Bible for free and give me some explanation. If I go to a Scientologist, they're going to try to sell you a book. And you can't even, to learn about the religion, you can't really learn about it until you spend many tens of thousands of dollars. And so to me, it's a multi-level marketing scam using slave labor, and it's a cult on top of it. It's different than anything else. I mean, are they much better than Jehovah's Witness? Probably not. But, they're a manipulative cult. And they're working these people 110 hours a week for no money. So that's slave labor. Some of these people are here, like you said, from other countries, and they're taking away their visas. So again, it's slave labor that's tax exempt. And it's it's happening right here. It's not happening. We talk about human trafficking throughout the world, like it's some foreign thing. It's human trafficking is happening right here on Hollywood Boulevard, right here.
Yeah.
As people walk by on vacation, you are walking past people who are being trafficked.
I want the mods, once again, since we got raided, to continue to promote Williams's social media. He got banned from TikTok. I know he doesn't care, but I think it's a big deal because they could just silence us. It could happen here as well. So keep following him on all the social media. Mods, please share that and stuff, because William's been very generous. I'm sure the demand for his interviews are really high right now, because this is the biggest story on the internet. And I'm sorry, I've said it a few times already. This is, once people look at this, they're like, wow, they're just blown away. This is the biggest story on social media and stuff. We've seen memes. My favorite one is when the lady's holding up, I've told you this in person, lady's in bed holding up the phone, and she's like, the husband's like calling her, and she's like, sorry, honey, I'm going to spend the next 4 hours watching this guy talking about boycotting the Scientologists. Have you seen any memes that stand out?
Yeah, I mean, I see those all the time. Listen, I get it from my neighbors. I have my elderly neighbors that will say, hey, William, where are you going? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably just going to go get something to drink at 7-Eleven. They're like, oh, you're not going over there? I'm like, yeah, I'll probably stop over to Scientology place. Like, okay, good. I'm going to be looking for it. So, I mean, it's been a thing.
Once again, folks, if you just got here, we got Streets LA in the house. The entire interview, you could just rewind it and watch it from the beginning. I know you're probably like, oh, damn, I wanted to watch this. And I got here late. You didn't get here late. The thing is, you got here, just rewind. You get the entire thing, some context. And also you could watch my previous videos. I have a few things I updated leading up to the situation right now that you're watching. I have one more question, and then I'm going to let whatever you want to say in closing, whatever you want to promote, whatever, and we could go for a little more if you want. But do you think I'm on a Xeno hit list right now since I've been covering this?
No, man. The Scientologists, they're phony tough guys. Their perception of them being what they call a fair game practice of coming after their critics, it's overblown. I think they've gotten by on that reputation itself. So people were just scared to challenge it. I think what I've proven is there's actually nothing to be afraid of. These guys, they're not particularly scary. They're just really goofy, and you really have nothing to worry about.
I do think that no one says Goofy as cool as you do. I really do think so. Anything else you want to add, brother? Man, what a hearts for Will, man. He's been here 45 minutes. I mean, that's a lot. That's great, man. And I know he's a busy dude and stuff. Let's put some hearts. Let's subscribe to him and stuff for helping out the community, bringing awareness to this and stuff. And maybe we could help get your TikTok channel back somehow. I don't know. Here we got William Good for president. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. What would you like to, in closing, say to all the nerd troopers here?
I mean, I would say that, listen, the next phase of the fight against Scientology starts now. We don't really need, like I said, a dozen people standing in front of a building that's closed. It's now time to find new and creative ways to produce. Listen, my thing is I want to protest. I want to be most effective. I want to shut these guys down. Everybody has to find their own way with it. It's time for people to find new and creative ways to create Scientology content and find new ways to confront them, and hopefully reach out to your individual politicians, no matter who they are. It's not just here. It's just not here in LA. It's anywhere in the country. Every single member of Congress is running for election and re-election right now. Every seat is up. Ask them what is their stance on Scientology's tax-exempt status. Should they keep it or not? I can't imagine there are many politicians that want to fight for Scientology's tax-exempt status. I think most people will be more than willing to throw them under the bus. Let's put pressure on the IRS to take it away. They've taken away their tax-exempt status before in the past. Let's force them to do it now, and it comes by putting politicians. Like I said, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're the governor, a congressperson, a mayor, a neighborhood council, dog catcher, insurance commissioner. If they are running for office, get them on record stating what their stance is on Scientology's tax-exempt status, or even if there should be hearings into Scientology's tax-exempt status. And
you can also do that on Twitter.
You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on, I would like to get people to do it on face to face with a camera in their face, get them on record and post it on TikTok, post it on YouTube, post it on Snapchat, wherever, or post it on Instagram. But yeah, you can confront them on Twitter. They're probably going to run, but who cares? Confront them, make a thing of it, make it, normalize it.
I see a lot of politicians, even corporations, tweet out something totally dumb and ridiculous, get ratioed by millions of people, and they still leave it up. I wonder if they even control their stuff. You know what I mean?
A lot of them are just having staff members handle it, and they don't even care.
They don't care, do they?
No.
They feel invincible. Look, I'm going to keep following you. I don't know. I'm not even going to ask when you're going to go live again. What you have to do, folks, is go to his channel, keep searching it. He goes live periodically. And you're just going to love the way he handles stuff. This story is it's the beginning. And season 2 is about to drop. Trust me, anytime soon. William, thank you so much for being here on Nerd Report. Buddy, thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone. Nerd.